Lindsay of Business Banter Plus, and I'm really excited to be here with Joe Saad of chefhangouts.com. Joe and I go way back to the very beginning of G+, so it's really exciting to me that he's agreed to chat with me here and give us a little insight into his why he does what he does, and perhaps a few nuggets that you guys can take away and implement in your own lives. So good afternoon, Joe.
Thank you for having me, Elaine. I'm honored to be here to visit with you, and good to see you.
Yeah, I'm very touched that you're here because I know you're a very busy man. I was going to say a few things about you because I know I'm under the impression your background is mergers and acquisitions. Am I correct?
It is. It has been now for many years.
Yes, yes, and to me, that speaks to a real strength in business. So, give us maybe a little bit about you personally.
Well, personally, I've been a tech geek and followed tech news now for a long time. So even while I've been in the M&A arena and advising, really working with private equity groups, and at the same time, I've always paid attention to technology. And the minute I heard about Google Plus, when I heard Google was doing something that's going to be different, it's going to be new and innovative, I had to find an invitation. And I thought, how can I get an invitation? And I thought, who is the biggest geek I know? And it's got to be Mark Cuban. So I found his profile. I started looking for people that he had circled. And then I wrote several of them a note and said, please send me an invitation, if you will. And one of them did.
Oh, cool. That's exciting. That's exciting.
So yeah, that and then on a personal basis, I guess if you want to maybe just segue into the history here, or what do you want to? So I got on Google Plus, and I was immediately amazed with what I call a network. I prefer to call it a network than a social network, because I feel like using the word social, even though it's very social, sort of keeps pigeonholes it into something that's supposed to be compared directly with Facebook when it really is not.
No.
There's so much more to Google Plus, and so yeah, within the first few hangouts that I jumped in, I was visiting with some people that I thought, wow, this is really cool. I'm in a hangout with the founder of Ancestor.com and Paul Allen, and he was fired up about Hangouts, and so was I. And I remember just talking to a lot of people and thinking, boy, this can have a heck of a profound value on business, on professional services, on consulting, on all of the different things that can be done here because of so many tools, because it's Google, because they've put together a beautiful network. I thought this is going to be big, and a lot of business will take place here, and so not to mention social and entertainment, but I see Hangouts as not a way to simply waste time. I see it as a way to be more efficient and to bring services into the comfort of people's offices, homes, wherever they may be, with their phone or with their tablets and so forth. And so I think I got fired up, and I started looking across the wide spectrum of industries that we could address, and lo and behold, cooking classes was the one that we chose first.
Right, right. And I think that's a really excellent choice, because with all the interest the past few years in Food Network and all the big chefs that are out there, Anthony Bourdain and everybody wants to step up their cooking. And
no question about it. Cooking is now cool. Cooking is extremely cool, and so and evidence of that is the popularity of the Food Network and Cooking Channel. And,
absolutely, and your chefhangouts.com. I have to say, yeah, the popularity is huge. Absolutely, I keep seeing the fact that you have on there, basically, let's give people an idea in case they don't know completely what Chef Hangouts is. I want to say it's from soup to nuts and back. You really are a complete service for people who perhaps are not great in the kitchen.
Actually, and some of our customers consider themselves very adept in the kitchen, and I do want to make one quick correction. It's Chef Hangout, singular.
Chefhangout.com,
right? But well, that's okay. You know, I look at I would say he's our #1 customer in terms of how many cooking classes he's bought. His name is Jeff Karpinski. Jeff told me, as I was asking him, why do you buy so many cooking classes? What is it that you like? He said, well, no, first of all, I consider myself very adept in the kitchen. So he already knows his way around the kitchen. His reason for taking cooking classes with our chefs is that he's willing to try dishes that he never would have tried on his own. He's willing to try tiramisu with Chef Dennis Litley. He's willing to try, you know, these maybe more complex or things that were just outside of his typical stuff. And he's willing to do that because he has a chef standing there, essentially, with him in the kitchen.
Right. And I noticed you do great classes from Asian dumplings and...
That's one of the most popular classes.
Absolutely, absolutely. And rolling sushi?
There's definitely some sushi classes and pasta classes. And tomorrow morning, for instance, there's a pasta class by Mary Callan. What we're doing is we're bringing a cooking class to the comfort of anybody's kitchen, and we're bringing a level of service that you would get going to a bricks and mortar cooking school. Right. But frankly, it's better, and the reason it's better is that you're using your own equipment, you're using your own knives, your own food processor, whatever it may be. And so you're able to, in your own stove, which is important to get to know, and you're getting to use your own equipment, and then have that direction. You don't have to go out and hire a babysitter. You don't have to. In fact, you know, I think about the different reasons why folks buy a cooking class. I remember a fella not long ago who bought a class for himself and his girlfriend, her mother and her husband in another city, and then her sister and her husband in yet another city. So this family, separated by 3 cities, bought a cooking class and made it private with Haley Otto, our chef Haley Otto, and it was incredible. They went, you know, they made a salad, they made an entree, and they made dessert. They did it in a pretty short time, and when class was over, Haley, our chef, left, and then the family dined together, kitchen to kitchen.
Yeah. And
where can you find that kind of experience? I don't know where else you could find that sort of an experience.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's part of that. To me, is one of the most important and intrinsic features of the Hangouts, and being able to bring others together, like you say, in different cities. I know in the case of myself and my husband, when you're cooking for your children and your grandchildren, over the years, you just get stale. You know, how nice is it to be able to be comfortable in your own home, get some lessons on something that maybe you never tried before. You know, up the ante so that you're not eating the same stuff week in and week out, and it's incredibly reasonable. That's what I think is really important.
Absolutely, and one of the neatest things is that now you can come up, now you're going to learn how to do something, I mean, tomorrow morning, our customers will learn 3 different recipes. They'll walk through these recipes with our chef, which are pasta recipes, and for $20, they're going to have number one, a really good time, but then they're going to have these recipes and that skill and the techniques that were taught by that chef that they can use for the rest of their lives.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Our chef Adam Massimo in Australia, he said, Joe, he said, Chef Hangout should become the best place, but not only the best place, but the place on the planet to take cooking classes. That when people consider taking a cooking class, they think first of chefhangout.com. And he said the only way we can get there is by providing absolutely outstanding content.
Absolutely.
Great chefs and good prices and give people value. And so that's what we're setting out to do, is create a lot of value. But I'll tell you what, Elaine, we have a lot left to do. We really we have some really neat plans. One of the ideas that we've talked about and have yet to implement, but we will, is a master series where, see, there's a market for a cooking class, and then there's another market for a full-blown culinary degree. But then there's a certain segment of the population between that they'd like to really become an expert at, say, pastas or, say, brunch. And so we're talking about doing a master series where a group of 2 or 3 chefs will offer, say, 10 classes. And by the time you complete that master series on gluten-free baking or whatever it may be, you're going to be an expert in that area, or at least you're going to be pretty adept in that area. And you'll be able to, and then when you do complete that course, we're going to send you a Chef Hangout jacket, a chef coat with the logo and everything, and a badge that shows that you've completed that course.
Oh, that's excellent. Oh, Joe, that's fabulous. The first time I'm hearing this, so that's really, really cool.
Yeah, we haven't talked about that publicly, but this is something we have planned.
Something I want to mention, and I really wanted you on the show because I consider you a really great and very humble guy who does awesome things. And I just wanted to make that clear, because you are the type of person that has a deep well of knowledge that we can pass on to others as to best practices, how to go ahead and work yourself into either a new business or turn around a business that perhaps isn't doing so well, because you basically, in the matter of a year and a half, you've started from scratch. And like all good businessmen, you have told us you don't think you're finished, you don't think you're anywhere near finished, which the honesty, I thank you, I love it. I absolutely love it. What else?
Well, you talk about getting something accomplished that you want to accomplish, and I've thought about it this way, and I'll give you a short story about positioning, and in my estimation, the key to being successful as not just an entrepreneur, but as a corporate executive, as an artist, as a chef, as whatever it may be, whatever you're trying to do in life, I think it's more about positioning than it is reading all of the success books out there. Now, you still have to get up early in the morning. You still have to set goals and work hard and have a positive attitude and all the things we've all heard over and over again about how to be successful. But I think what separates somebody is positioning. So I'll give you a little example. Imagine clone brothers. Basically, they are identical twins, and they both start a little pizza store. And so, but then they both have the same goal of creating a great pizza store. However, one brother decides, I'm going to try to create more pizza stores. Meanwhile, the other one decides to simply create the best pizza. Well, he can toil for the next 30 years and have the best pizza store in town. But the guy that says, I want to go out and create more pizza stores, saves a little money, goes out and finds an investor. He goes and starts another pizza store. And by positioning, simply walking into a different position, he positioned himself in a spot to now have 5,000 pizza stores. And it's a simplistic way of saying that it's about where you decide to take yourself, where you decide to take your business. If there's nothing wrong with having one outstanding pizza store, okay? But if your goal is more, then simply position yourself in the best possible way to go out and achieve that goal. So if and you can apply that to really just about anything.
Absolutely. We actually, in social media and relationship marketing, that's what we call amplification. Getting that amplification, you really do have to move yourself forward. I think it's a little like a chess game in life. You have to think a few moves ahead in order to get yourself across that board. For you
Absolutely.
to take on their king, you really have to be sure that you know what's happening in the next 5, 6, 7 moves.
Absolutely. That's right.
Excellent. So let's get back to, I'd like to discuss the sort of the core why. I think you are very heart-centered is one of the terms we use, and even in business, I think it takes an awful lot for you to really get behind a project. So give us a little insight into where it came from, this drive to do Chef Hangout.
Well, it started with that feeling of knowing that this is quite quite an amazing technology that I think is going to fundamentally change the way we use our computers. And then the question always was, okay, what industry? Where do we go first? And why cooking classes? Well, we were not the very first to create cooking classes on Google+. There are at least several others that had cooking classes before we did. I will say that we're the first with so many chefs to put together a business model that's strictly around delivering our only service via Hangout. So I don't know, we certainly were the first one to do that, but why? It was we thought that cooking classes were fairly simple in terms of we thought it was a good venue and a good service that we could deliver real value to a customer, and it didn't take a lot of it really didn't take anything in the way of using, say, the Hangout API to develop some sort of interface here. So long as you can hear and see the chef, then really the development was more along the actual business model on our website, and creating an interface that was extremely simple for a customer to use. We wanted one-click access from our website into a Hangout, and we achieved that. We wanted easy ways to buy the classes. We wanted to make sure that for instance, the recipe, which is of value and belongs to our chef, belongs only to our chef and then to the person that buys it. But we didn't want to broadcast the recipe to the world because that's part of the value the chef is selling. So we did. We created a mechanism for doing that. A person clicks buy class, they buy a class, and then immediately they get a note from us in their email that gives them all of the ingredients they're going to need and a pre-class preparation that they'll need to do before class to be ready to go for class. And so we really put a lot of thought into building this. At least, you know, Eric Ries of the Lean Startup, or yeah, the Lean Startup. He wrote about a minimally viable product, and sure, you can say that we could have built less, but I think we needed to build something that would achieve at least that much to be minimally viable.
Yeah, and quite frankly, universal, because everybody eats.
That's right.
There's not an awful lot that don't. So it's a product that can be adapted for all cultures. What about younger viewers? Are there chefs who perhaps attend to like teens and younger people?
Well, I'll tell you, I was really tickled. We got an application from a chef, and not quite a chef yet, but this was a 12-year-old boy, and he had sent in the application, and he said that he was interested in teaching classes on chefhangout.com, and we're absolutely open to that. The idea of younger people teaching classes would be pretty neat. But and occasionally we've seen kids with their parents in the kitchens as their parents take classes. As a matter of fact, one of our chefs early on had some Kids Can Cook Tuesday type classes, where she would bring a child of hers into the class, and one of our customers would do the same with theirs. So no, there's a lot of great things in terms of learning that you can do with children in a cooking class.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and it's a wonderful bonding experience for the family as well.
No question about it. Yeah. I'll never forget our very first test class. And I was visiting my mother for over the holidays, and I remember she told me after class that she was just a little bit scared to have a camera in her kitchen, and she didn't know how it was going to go. Within 5 minutes of class starting, I saw my mom's face light up. She connected with one of our outstanding chefs, Chef Jake Croston, and she did the other chefs too. We had 3 chefs doing 3 different things as a test, and some other chefs and some other friends as customers. And my mom had a ball, and she had so much fun that she told all of her friends about how much fun she had. She had chefs in her kitchen teaching her a cooking class. And then I remember the feeling I had as we did these cranberry glazed pork chops with Chef Jake Croston, and to watch the deglazing process, and to see these cranberries, and to watch a dish unfold that you normally would only see on TV, right there in my mom's kitchen, was magical. It was actually a magical experience. You talk about bonding. When's the last time I cooked in the kitchen with my mother? Yeah. So certainly that there's a great sense of bonding when anyone cooks together, and that's why we've had date night with Chef Dennis Litley. I think of William Burdett. He's a noted food podcaster, and
Yes.
he said, quote, "I left my kitchen sort of euphoric. When people talked about the promise of the internet 10, 15, 20 years ago, this is what they were talking about."
Mm-hmm.
And he said that on a podcast.
Yep. That's you absolutely nailed it, Joe. All the reasons that I'm here, all the reasons I do the show, you just, in a nutshell, you just put it out there, which I think is phenomenal. For anybody who's watching, I think it a great idea to even take one class, check it out. Whether you cook or you don't cook, I think I'm going to have to give some classes as a Christmas gift to my son's wife, because she doesn't cook. My son does. And so that'll be something that they can share together, hopefully with us, because they're 2,500 miles away. So like your family, that's exactly another reason. And something, you know, Christmas gifts, Hanukkah gifts, what a great way to solidify that family feeling, to be able to pull people together.
No question about it.
Absolutely. This has been absolutely great. I wanted to ask you one thing about your stable of chefs. Do you have specific aspirations of any specific chefs, or did you want to give a shout out to anybody that you'd like to bring on board?
Well, I can tell you that I really believe that we want chefs in Italy, we want chefs in France, in England, we want chefs across Europe. We have chefs in Australia. We'd like more. This is global, and so we want to see chefs from India. We'd like to see chefs from really all over the world, and the variety is what is so valuable. When you can go to and look through and see a huge variety of cuisines taught by folks that are from all different cultures and areas of the world across the United States and Canada, and Janice Mansfield in Canada is another outstanding chef, and her expertise is not only in gluten-free baking and so on, but also mixology. She actually creates her own bitters.
Wow!
Yeah, unbelievable.
Wow!
And so she's definitely someone to follow on Google Plus.
Mm-hmm.
So, but no, I don't have any particular names of folks that we're courting, but we get a number of chef applications in, but our test as to whether or not a chef will be invited to participate at chefhangout.com is, will they deliver value?
Yeah.
That's it. You don't have to you don't have to have a culinary degree. As you probably know, a lot of the most famous chefs on TV don't have culinary degrees.
That's right.
They deliver value to the customer. Somebody that wants to learn how to cook, do they deliver value? That's it.
Yeah. I wanted to touch on one thing that I know you're not going to push it, so I'm going to. There are more than 1.5, I think, million that have circled chefhangout.com on Google+. And that says to me that this is not just a very viable concept, but it's something whose time has come. And I just have to say I'm excited. I'm looking forward to doing some classes with my kids. And I wanted to ask you for one little nugget for the viewers to take away in respect of them going ahead with their business.
Well, I would I guess a little nugget. Boy, create value. My father always told me. He said, I don't care what you do in life. He said, but whatever you do, create value. And that's what I would say, and test that. And by the way, go out and buy the Lean Startup if you're considering starting a company. Eric Ries is a fantastic author and has put together some great concepts for starting a company. We're using a lot of his advice in what we're building here. And I will say this: Chef Hangout is the first case, the first vertical of many that are yet to come, and many are going to be substantially larger, but also much more challenging to build.
Yes.
And but yeah, that Chef Hangout is the first vertical in the Hangout Planet network. Okay? And so yeah, there's some big things that are yet to come.
Well, I'm really excited about that, and I'm really excited for you. And I thank you so much, Joe. I know interviews aren't a big thing for you, so I am humbly thanking you for coming on my show and giving me this opportunity to share chefhangout.com with more of the world, because you certainly have a big enough following. But it's most impressive, and I wanted to say thank you and congrats.
Thank you, Elaine.
Yes, I'm so thankful, and I wanted to let you know we actually have a viewer right now in Italy. So I'm going to be checking out with them later and seeing what they think.
That's great.
Thank you so much for coming on board with me. This has been really exciting and very interesting, and I look forward to getting my class gifts for the kids and going forward with some training. My husband will probably be looking forward to it too, because he gets a little fed up cooking during the week.
Well, thanks, and I appreciate your time.
This has really been great. Thank you, everybody. This was Joe Saad with chefhangout.com. It's Elaine Lindsay from Business Banter Plus. Thanks very much, and make your day amazing. As Joe said, create value wherever you go. Thanks a lot.